Greetings, loyalists and heretics. Welcome to Iron and Ceramite, where we once again enter the war without an astropath.
Hello everyone, and welcome to this Iron and Ceramite video. I'm John, and today I'm joined by Glenn, Tom,
Hi guys.
and Dave.
Hi guys.
How are you guys doing? Good?
Very good, thank you.
Yeah,
Yourself?
Good, thank you.
Yeah, I'm good, thank you. So Warhammer Fest is well underway, and today was dedicated to the Black Library. So we're going to do a preview of everything that was announced and get our thoughts and reactions to things that we've seen. So before we do though, quick first reactions or thoughts from you guys. Glenn.
Really pleased. So obviously, I mentioned it in the podcast literally a couple of days ago. So yeah, couldn't believe the stuff that has appeared. Specifically, some of the stuff, the rest of it, lots of good books. Well, potentially good books. So we'll just have to wait and see what they're like when we get a chance to read them.
Dave, anything jump out at you straight away?
Yeah, again, the models look awesome.
Yeah.
They look really good. I haven't read the Gaunt Ghost ones, yeah, but I definitely will. But the crime novels, I think that I'll definitely try and get into those because they look like a nice new slant on 40k. So it'd be quite cool to get away from demigods and primarchs and all that sort of stuff and go to the hive and the humdrum of 40k. I think that'd be quite interesting.
Well, that's it, isn't it? Because it's all sort of, like you say, demigods and far out space battles, but really, and you like to put yourself in those sort of situations, but we know that really we're just going to be stuck in some hive getting mugged and left on the streets to fend for ourselves. So something that might be a bit more realistic for you and me.
Yeah,
that would be good to read. What about you, Tom? Anything? I know that you didn't watch the whole preview, but anything jump out at you that you've seen so far?
Yeah, I just had it on in the background, to be honest. I was sort of listening while I was tidying my flat because I do adult things during the day occasionally. And
Adult things.
Very adult, Glenn. I'll go into detail when we're off camera. It's fine.
Okay.
I think like Dave touched on it really. The crime books, I think they're quite interesting to me because obviously we all enjoyed Eisenhold, and I think in my mind, it will be similar to that, like that dark undertone and more of a human sort of touch to it. Well, hopefully anyway. So I think they're definitely something I'd like to get into reading. But also I did glimpse the models when you were showing us earlier, John.
Yeah.
The models you put up, and I think they look cool as well. So cool. I think Gaunt didn't look how I expected him to look, but I'm sure Glenn could enlighten us more on how he should look.
Oh, that's something I was going to ask. So I think before we go too far, we're going to use some new technology to us here at Iron and Ceramite, and we're going to have some visual aids while we go through this.
Always advancing.
Yes. So let's hope this goes well. And we should all be seeing some awesome looking models right about now. Can you see those guys?
Mm-hmm.
Right.
Yep.
So if you didn't watch the reveals, we'll just go through it now. So we watched one video which started with a booklet opening, showing us the personnel file of someone very near and dear to Glenn's heart, and we've already touched on it. So Glenn, talk us through what's in this picture.
So that is Colonel Commissar Gaunt and sort of five of the sort of the earliest in the book characters. You get a couple of commanders and some of the more well-loved characters as well. So I just absolutely love the models. Every time I look at them, I think they're fantastic. They are sort of reworks of the old models that they brought out ages ago. Possibly that's why Gaunt looks the way he does. They probably based him quite similar to, like, the pose and things like that are very, very similar to the old models. as is the rest of the squad that he's with, but they've really brought them a lot more up to date. And there's just so many nice little touches, like the blades that they've got in their hands in a couple of them, and even as a bayonet, that's the Tanith Straight Silver. It doesn't look like a basic bayonet. It's a very specific bit of war gear that features quite heavily in the Ghost books as well. It really sort of makes them quite unique, right down to even on the weapons. You can see the wooden stocks on the models as well, because that's supposedly the wood from their home planet has been put into the stocks and the weapons and stuff. They're just fantastic looking.
Cool. And these are they're all named characters, aren't they?
Yeah.
So we'll go through them as long as you're all seeing the same as me. So the first one on the left, that is Sergeant Scout Dan Mccoll. To his right in the background is Master Sniper Helene Larkin. And then we have Major Rawn standing there. And then we have Gaunt himself in the foreground. Then we have Colonel Colm Corbeck in the background there. And then on the end, we have, he's called Try Again Bragg.
Yep.
So are these all characters that you know pretty well?
Yeah, like they're not all of them make it to the end of all of the books.
Cheers, Glenn.
That's all right. I'm not specifying which ones. And I did even I picked out Mccoll whenever we did the favorite characters. He was my character that I spoke about at great length because he's just such a badass. But yeah, all of them have such depth to their character. Like Ron starts out as an absolute bastard and hates Gaunt, but over sort of 15 books sort of gains this sort of grudging respect for him, and he ends up sort of like second in command of the regiment. And yeah, he's just a hard bastard as well.
So
it's worked out that some of them die, but not Ron because he goes for 15 books.
All right, yeah, fair.
But you don't know how, so it's still worth going.
No, it's going to happen, isn't it? I mean, like I say, they gave away spoilers in the thing as well, didn't they? So, it's all
I
good.
think they specified not everyone makes it to the end.
Yeah. So a couple of questions for you, Glenn. Obviously, first one is, are you going to buy these models to add to your massive collection?
Stupid question.
Yeah.
yeah, more than likely, depending on availability.
And my
if
follow-up,
Games Workshop do their limited edition thing or not.
I think they said that on the announcement, they said that they don't think this will be limited. This will be everyone can get these.
Oh, okay, I missed that.
So,
yeah. Excellent.
But my real question is, are you going to paint these models?
Don't be ridiculous.
Oh, what a waste.
I'm not. I would love to, and I will try when I do get my hands on them. But yeah, I'll just be very intimidated to do them justice, because it's one thing to have some models, even of a chapter of your own devising or a paint scheme of your own thinking. This is such an established, there's so much established lore to them.
Yeah.
Even the paint scheme on them is a little bit different to how I pictured it in my mind. Like the only issue I have with it is the cloaks. I always saw the cloaks as a bit darker, not so much of a green type thing, but aside from that,
in my mind, I saw the cloaks as a sort of more of a grey sort of similar to the rocks there, that type of a colour. I don't know if you had more brown in your mind or what was.
I had a very specific type of colour in my mind, and it's from Lord of the Rings, when very specifically, not just the elven cloaks, when Sam hides Frodo outside the gates of Mount Doom, like as a rock, almost like that, and it's sort of you've got the color of the sort of surrounding, but also they're still a green cloak, so there's a slight sort of color shift to them, but not like a magical quantity or anything.
Okay.
But yeah, I just seen them as being a bit darker, a bit grayer, a bit almost a light black, as it were.
Okay, cool. And finally, just before we move on to the next one, they will be getting rules and will be playable as well. So if you want some scouts for your army, then look no further.
Yeah, so just stay before we move on. I would love for this to be something that GW go further into with other books as well. So obviously, definitely a big fan of Hell's Reach. And it'd be awesome if you'd have something like Andrej from Hell's Reach, the Guardsman character. I think it was mentioned in the last pod. Like characters like that from all sorts of books, the Macarius Crusade as well. Some of the characters from there, I think that'd be really cool to have some minis of them, even if, again, like we were saying in the last pod, where they're just display models. Obviously, these are going to be playable, but it'd be awesome to have a bit more of this coming out from the Black Library and bringing it into the tabletop. I think that'd be a really cool idea.
Yeah,
I think you're right, Dave, because if you look at the amount of characters you've got for Space Marines and all other factions, the Guard don't really have any main characters, even though there's so much written about them. So that would be a really good idea, definitely.
Well, I suppose these are going to go flying off the shelves. So if this does well, then they'll follow suit when they go to the next popular. So tying in with this, we move on to our first actual book, and look at this, the Vincula Insurgency, which is going to be the next book in the Gaunt Ghost series. So the way they described it is that this is going to be not necessarily the next chronologically, but this is going to go back to early in the careers of the Gaunt Ghosts. And they said in the interview with Dan Abnett that this is going to come just after a story called Ghostmaker. Glenn, does that mean anything to you?
Yeah, it's one of the early books. I think it's
second one, I think, and or third.
Yeah, it's
second.
Yeah, it's the second one, but the way of explaining it is it's sort of an anthology without it being an anthology. Like it's sort of the first half of the book really breaks it down into kind of who each kind of character is and gives you a little bit about some very specific characters. Covering, strangely enough, all of the people that are there in the plus a few other ones. But yeah, it's really, really far back in the story, where no one's quite sure how it's all going to work out for the ghosts, if they're just going to get sort of tossed aside or what's going to happen with them.
You've read the Gaunt's Ghost books a few times now, haven't you? So now you've got an excuse and a reason
on them again.
to do it again. And you've got something new to tide you over.
Well, it'd be nice to see some of the characters, because obviously over 14, 15 books, however many it is, a lot of characters have come and gone. Because at the end of the day, it's just guardsmen in constant war zones. So there is quite a high attrition rate. And it'd be nice to see some of the characters back with a little bit more to their story.
And what do you make of the all this limited edition goodness here?
I love a bit of limited edition stuff.
Yeah,
go quite nicely. I've actually got a Tanith bag with the little kind of skull and 3 daggers through it that you can see in the middle. That's the emblem of the Tanith, and I have that on one of my bags, and it's just lovely.
Do you run about in the woods where you live with a cloak on as well?
No, I think I'd might get arrested for
that. Cool. So yeah, I think this is limited edition, but it is nice. So hopefully it's easier to get your hands on before the scalpers get them. But yeah, that looks pretty good and should be a good book. Moving on, and still quite connected in the Abnett universe, is a Sabbath Worlds anthology, which I believe ties into like the Gaunt series, Gaunt's Ghost series rather, and this is going to be sort of the wider events around that crusade. And this is written by a few well-known authors in the Black Library universe, and Dan Abnett has overseen and edited this. So obviously it's all going to tie in nicely with the narrative that he's set. Reactions or thoughts on this?
They've done a previous one to this as well. It was really, really good. It's nice to see some different authors having like sort of their own spin on some of the stuff that's going on in the Sabbat War or the Sabbat World's Crusade, without having to specifically just go into the ghosts. You've got, you know, books about the sort of the Air Corps. I can't remember what the name of it. It's a book called Double Eagle. So yeah, that's the pilots, and yeah, some other stuff as well.
Yeah.
So it'd be interesting to see what they've got to do with or what the other authors have got to say about the various bits and pieces, because it's the same with the Heresy anthologies. Lots of little short stories about it, with different authors having their own spin on things. It'd be really good.
It's just going to add more, isn't it? So if you're already into the Gaunt's Go stuff, and you're going to get an outsider's perspective where, I don't know, they might potentially join up and do a mission with them, or just see them passing in the background and going off doing their own thing that might impact in somewhere else. It's just more lines in the web, isn't it? So it should be pretty good. Eventually, one day, I might get to read all of these as well. So, Tom, I saw you fiddling with grabbing a book from behind you.
I had to look because when Glenn was speaking, I thought I had that book, but I didn't know if I did, and I have actually got that Double Eagle. Yeah, so, yeah. Maybe I'll read that then now. There's actually, do you know what? I'm going to read this out because it's caught my eye, right? Starlog magazine has left a little bit of a review on the book, and do you know what it says? Grim battles from a dark future. That's it. Brilliant. Well, brilliant. Thanks for that.
Sold. Right, so moving on, we have another sort of addition to the Sabbat World's Crusade, and this is more of a so this is two parts. You have one which is more of an artwork book, collections of artwork through the Crusade, and then the other is sort of a brief history or sort of very brief descriptions of all the key events and timeline of the Crusade. And this is again in a special edition set with some little posters and some collectible coins. Are you going to try and get your hands on this one, Glenn, as well?
Possibly not that one. I mean, it's beautiful, and it'd be interesting to read like sort of all the additional little bits, because like it's about World's Crusade was absolutely massive, went for so long, encompassed a massive sort of sector. So yeah, it'd be interesting to see what sort of extra bits of fluff that they bulk it out with. But yeah, I tend not to go for like just all of the limited edition stuff. It's sort of the stuff that actually means something to me.
Yeah.
And that is what's nice. Probably cause a rift with me and the missus at the amount of money I would be spending on limited edition stuff. So yeah, maybe not that one.
It does look nice though. It's a really nice cover. I suppose it would, if you're a die-hard collector, I would imagine this is a must-have.
Tom's the book collector.
Yeah.
Does that appeal?
No, to be honest, right, it's more about what's in the books to me. I mean, if I was loaded, if I had enough money, I would go for every single one.
Oh yeah.
But for me, it's just knowing that if I want to read it, then it's there sort of thing. The words more than anything else.
Sure.
Yeah.
Oh right. Should we jump on to the next one, which is based on the Iron Snakes? So this is following from a previous Iron Snakes book written by Dan Abnett, and he's passed the reins on to Matthew Farah. Has anybody read the previous Iron Snakes or know anything about Iron Snakes? I don't.
No, I got really excited when I saw this on the stream. I got really excited because I thought that they were Black Templar Sword Brethren at first look, and then when so I was a bit disappointed, but I'm sure it's good.
Sorry, Dave. There's too much colour there.
Yeah. I thought you liked Iron Snakes, though, Dave.
I don't know how you expect me to respond to that.
Okay. I mean, this ties into the Sabbath World Crusade. So, I mean, Dan Abnett has been mega busy, clearly. Like, obviously, we've had the Beckwin book not too far gone, tying into the Eisenhorn stuff. And then he seems to have overseen like this whole other expansion into this crusade. So, I mean, what we're in now, 5 or 6 things we've touched on so far, and he's obviously had a hand in overseeing all of it. So yeah, I mean, I don't know anything about the Iron Snakes, but I mean, if you're liking everything that we've sort of talked about so far, hopefully this will tie in and should be good addition. And then that moves us on to the next one. The Volpone Glory, a Blue Bloods novel. So I don't know anything about these. I don't know if any of you guys, I think they've appeared in the Gaunt's Ghost books, Glenn.
Yeah, they're in a couple of the books. They're a regiment that fights alongside and has sort of a bit of a rivalry with the Talent. They're like really, really elite heavy infantry compared to sort of the light scout infantry that the Ghosts are. Interested in that because you don't get a lot about them in the books. They're just sort of, they're in there. There's a decent description of them and things like that. And again, artwork on the book. That's pretty much how I've seen them. So it'd be interesting to see what's in that book, because it's another thing that I'm curious if the Ghosts might pop up in it. If it's set around the same time, it could be set around completely different and different campaign.
Well, whilst listening to it, I did hear one of the guys say it was there in certain parts of the book, at least, that it was based around the time when they was with the Gaunts, but it's from their perspective of what happened. Yeah. So I imagine they will be in it.
Hopefully, but I don't know how much there's going to be sort of crossover as opposed to just they're on the same planet, or if they're in the same trenches. That kind of.
So how did they come across in the books, Glenn? Did they come across as dicks, or were they, or was there just a rivalry because they just wanted to be better than the Tanith?
They have. They're called the Blue Bloods, so they are the elite, and they know it, basically. So they think they're better than most other guard regiments. But sort of second time they sort of pop up. Maybe third time they pop up, there's a bit of a grudging respect for them because they've seen how the Ghosts do what they do, there's, like I said, there's the rivalry, but they've become sort of that bit of respect between the units or the regiments.
Cool, completely different dynamics then. That's awesome.
Yeah.
Looking at the artwork on this just takes me back. I just really want more guard regiments for models for tabletop, because the artwork on that is awesome.
It's really nice, isn't it?
Yeah. It'd be awesome to have some guard regiments like that, and even if it's just a few slightly different, just so people could have some variation in the regiments. I think that'd just be awesome. That's the biggest thing for me, is I'm really hoping going forward that they do pour a bit more into bring out the Black Library and put it into the tabletop.
Yeah, hopefully. I mean, I suppose the book has to take off. It has to do well first, doesn't it? People need to have the interest. So maybe in a few years that could be something. But yeah, definitely, I agree. Definitely. And then rounding off our sort of Dan Abnett Fest here, portion of the Black Library releases, we finish with a lovely bookmark, a Gaunt bookmark, and that's got a quote, apparently one of his famous quotes on it. So yeah, everyone needs.
What's the quote, John?
It says, "Ready, weapons ready. Word is given. We're riding into the mouth of hell, and we could be among them any minute. Prepare for sudden engagement. Emperor, be with you all." Yeah.
Is that actually what it says? Because I can't see it.
Yeah, that's exactly what it says.
Oh, well done. Well done.
It's massive on my screen.
This is a pat on the back.
Oh, cheers, mate. Okay, so moving on from Gaunt's Ghost and the universe around him, we go to some Horus Heresy and the next book in the Siege of Terror called Warhawk. Thoughts about this, guys?
In all honesty, I muted it when it come up with the Siege of Terror, just because I'm still on like book, what is it, 44, I think, and even a minor spoiler is enough to put me off of reading a book sometimes. So I just thought I'll leave that aside.
Yeah.
I mean, obviously, you guys say what you want; it doesn't bother me really. But
yeah,
I don't know. I don't know where they are in the siege really. I imagine this is the penultimate one. Is it the second to last?
I don't know. I don't know how many books. How many
it's supposed to be
books
6 apparently, excluding like novellas that were in between. I think they said it was 6. So I'm assuming this is the one before the last, but I don't know.
Well, that's book 6, is it not?
Is
that's
it?
Not the end. Yeah. Well, I can see VI on the end, on the side of it, so I'm assuming that's book 6.
So maybe it's more now then. I don't know. I'm not sure, mate, to be honest. I mean, Warhawk, that's obviously, Jagati Khan. So
yeah, so this one is, I mean, so as you were saying, like, you're on book 44, I'm on book 10 of the Horus Heresy. So this is in my future, maybe by the time I turn 40. So I
not long.
look forward to it. No, not right. No, hey. So just going from what they said on the stream, if you're watching this, you probably know a lot more than we do. There's already been one big fight between Jagatai Khan and Mortarion that happened on a dead planet, and that was before Mortarion's ascension to demonhood. Well, this is now obviously on Terra, and this is round 2. So, yeah, that is literally all I know. If this is an obvious buy, if you're into the Horus Heresy and you're reading the Siege of Terror and you're current, you're obviously going to buy this one. And then if you're like me, who are slowly working your way through it, yeah, I'll get this, but probably not for some years yet. But it does look good, just from the cover art alone. Yeah, so unless anyone else has got anything else to add, we'll move on.
Just
Give me 2 seconds.
I can't wait to edit this. Fucking getting up and sitting down every 10 seconds.
I want to do this in one take.
Oh, yeah. Yeah, was you not here when I said I want to try and do this in one take so I can go to bed?
No, you can keep that on there. All it was, I was just double checking the novellas to see if they had the numbers on the side, see how many books there were. But novellas don't count. So
that's right.
Yeah, so it is already the 6th book. I was wrong.
All I was going to say is that, new Horus Heresy books, be they Siege of Terror or whatever, is always something to get excited about, because we're getting near the end. So it's cause for much joy that we're actually going to have the complete goddamn story finished.
Maybe they'll do a Game of Thrones and just ruin it right at the end.
Well, it will be really interesting. Yeah.
We now move on into the world of Warhammer Crime with Sanction and Sin, a crime anthology. Dave, we've already obviously touched on this. Any more thoughts? This is going to be set in the underbelly of the Imperium.
So I'm definitely going to pick this up. I'm definitely going to get this. Like I say, I think it's going to be a really interesting look at 40k from a different perspective, which I'm quite looking forward to. Like you say, it's a lot more human, and it'd be I think it'd just be nice to see sort of how a normal person is portrayed in the world of 40k, because you don't come across that many normal people, so to speak, other than the guards in certain stories, who don't seem to last very long. So it'd be nice to see a human perspective where you can actually get a bit of development before they just get obliterated or defiled by an orc.
Yeah.
Is Dave? Is this one short stories? Because I can't quite see the screen. It looks like
I think this is the anthology. So I think there's like a.
I mean, there's 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. There's 9 different authors on this.
It
Oh,
does
cool.
say right underneath the title, a Warhammer Crime anthology. So yeah,
I can't
We'll
see
go
it. It's
with
too small on my phone, you bet.
And to be fair, I did say anthology like twice.
Yeah.
So
yeah.
Yeah, but you can't pronounce anything, John. It could have been anything you said. I am Delon.
Oh, well, I've been trying. Anyway, so moving on. This is meant to follow more, like you said, the human level. So this is going to be the proberters, which are detectives, rather than the RBTs, which are more sort of elite law enforcement officers. So we will be at a more human level. There's another crime anthology, Tom. So this is short stories written by another group of authors called Broken City, which will probably be a bit more of the same. So if you're into the recent crime novels, this is definitely another one that you should pick up.
No RBTs in it, though, no?
RBTs. I can mute you. I have the power. And now we move on to an actual novel rather than an anthology called Grim Repast. So from what they said in the reveal, this is following Quillian Drask, who is a probator, as in a detective. So he's following a mystery on his home world and trying to solve some eerie and grisly goings on. So if you like the short stories, obviously the novel's going to be something that you can really sink your teeth into. Maybe this guy will pop up in one of the anthologies elsewhere, but could be the beginnings of another series. Dave, are you going to look to get this one as well, or are you going to start with the anthologies? And
I think I'll start with the anthologies. I think I will start there. Short stories you can sort of dip in and out of. And if it goes well, then I'll definitely look at getting this. But I don't know. That's the thing, is that I don't know. Is it Quillian Drask? Is there other stories? I don't know if I pick it up. Is it going to be halfway through sort of a series? So I don't know too much about it. So I'll have to look a bit more into it.
From what they said, I think this is the first. So this is a first in the series. I mean, I may be wrong, but I'm pretty sure they said this is a new thing. Like they didn't have too much information. It was this is what we've got. Very brief details for us. So I mean, we'll look it up, but it could be a good way to start. A good place to start if you're into crime. And then we're going to leave the crime behind and go into some Astra Militarum books. This first one hasn't been completed yet. The cover art, this is just a work in progress. And this is something that definitely interests me. It's called Steel Tread. And this is about the crew of a Lehman Russ demolisher. So this is essentially going to be like Fury, but in space. So this is going to be awesome. I mean, it's going to be about the tank crew, whatever mission they're on, and obviously get them through it, or maybe not get them through it. So yeah, this is definitely something I'll look at. If it's a sort of standalone thing, then yeah, it'll be nice and easy to get through.
I mean, I was quite looking forward to this as well. I mean, I really enjoyed the Macarius Crusade, and they obviously start in the Baneblade, which is obviously considered by a lot of the regiments to be a lot safer than a normal Lehman Russ. So it'd be quite interesting to have the perspective of a bit more of a lowly sort of tank crew. I think that'd be quite an interesting thing. So I'm quite looking forward to this as well.
Yeah, I expect sort of big things from this as well, because they sort of went off on one about this is potentially the next sort of Guard, not trilogy, but like sort of long running story. So I think there's sort of plans afoot for it to be a multiple books sort of series, which would be interesting. As long as it's good enough, I'll give it a go. Because I do like reading about the Guard as well. It's the human element, like Dave touched upon with like the crime stories. It's a little bit more relatable.
Definitely. I don't know if they mentioned who the author is either. So yeah, I'll look forward to picking this one up.
I can't remember.
And then continuing on, we're going to go to this one called Traitor Rock, a Mccoll-esque novel. So Mccoll-esque is a Cadian soldier, and this follows on after the fall of Cadia, and will be about Minka and her troops continuing the fight after everything they knew is essentially gone, and their struggles. So yeah, if you're up to date, which I'm not, in that sort of universe, this is obviously going to be a must buy, I guess, to see where they go from total destruction.
Yep, I want to take back what I last said. That's the book that they were talking about. It being a long running series. I got it mixed up. Yeah, I knew it was a Cadian one, but I forgot it was a second Cadian one. But yeah.
No, well, fair enough. We didn't know. So either way, that looks pretty good as well. To continue on with the current lore, and then anybody who was hoping for some Xenos books, all is not lost. We have a Necron story, the Twice Dead King Ruin, and. Yeah. This looks pretty good. Just from what they said, this is going to follow a disgraced Necron lord who is going to be reawoken and told there is an orc invasion going on and how he's going to have to sort of deal with that. So Necrons versus orcs should be pretty brutal.
I think out of everything, this one gripped me the most because I know barely anything about the Necrons. But also just the fact that, some people do think like, oh, they're just like machines, robots or whatever. But actually, some of them are so like sentient and they're millions of years old. I mean, I'd love to read an in-depth Necron novel, and it looks like maybe this is going to be the one. I don't know if there's been any before. I haven't heard of them if there have been. But looking forward to this one.
I'm not sure if it was a similar series. I know there was another one before, sort of from a similar kind of perspective. I can't remember which of the characters it was based around. I want to say maybe Trazin, but I'm not 100% sure on that one. But yeah, it's good to see something that's not humans dealing with something or Space Marines dealing with something. It's it's going to be interesting to see how they write from the Necron perspective. Because at least it's sort of like an intelligent level, whereas trying to write from the orcs' perspective is a bit bestial. And Tyranid's perspective, you're not going to get that. So it's one of the few races that's out there that's specifically very Xenos, but has got the level of intelligence that is going to be needed to grip you with character development.
Yeah. It'd be a weird one as well to see them as like the protagonists, where they're supposedly going to be the good guys of the book. You would have thought.
I don't think there's, like everyone always says, there's never any good guys.
No,
but, all that crap. Yeah.
But when you're reading through their eyes, I don't know. Are we going to be rooting for them, or are you going to be hoping they get overrun by orcs?
I'm going for the orcs all the time because they're just pretty much driven by instinct, aren't they? I think the Necrons are too much like us. Just power domination. So let the orcs kill everyone. Fuck it.
I'm really looking forward to this one as well because going back to the Macarius Crusade, obviously you get some of the point of view of the Drakari, and I think that was really well written. And like I said in previous pods, that it sort of made me think about them a lot more. So I'm hoping that this is going to be in the same vein, where you can see from their perspective and learn a lot more about that sort of side of the Xenos. So like Glenn said, it is very much like Space Marines and a human perspective. So I think it'd be really good to get some Xenos in there.
Yeah.
I mean, it's going to enrich the human perspective anyway, isn't it? Because we're going to see how they go amongst it when they fight each other, when we're not even in the picture. So it will give us a much broader sort of, look at the way they do things, really, when we're not around. We as the Imperium.
Yeah. So that's pretty much, that is everything they announced today. The only other thing, we won't really cover it, is they did a nice little interview with Dan Abbott right at the end. So if you want to see that, go and obviously look up the Warhammer official stream and that. So after that, guys, what book are you most looking forward to getting out of those? What are you going to go for first?
Definitely the Necron one.
I'll probably go for Broken City or the other anthology.
Yeah.
The crime ones.
Yeah, the Gaunt's limited edition. Need more of that.
Yeah. Tom?
Yeah, definitely the Necron book. I think I would probably be with Glenn if I had bothered to read more of the Gaunt's Ghost novels, but I still I have only read through 1.5 so far, the first 1.5. So
you need to get to the third one. It's so damn good.
See, that's the problem. Because I read through 1.5 of them and I left it for such a long time, I don't really remember what happened. So I know that if I need to go through them, I need to start again at the beginning. And it's
only
really...
a book and a half. That's not much.
All right, Glenn. All right. we don't all read them 25 times a year. No, I don't know how you do it, honestly.
Times in total.
Yeah, but 15 times 15 books.
Yes, but I haven't read all 15 times.
You have, haven't you?
No. The first one I've probably read about 15 times. But then each time a new book comes out, I reread from the start. So the last one I've only read once. Yeah, once.
Oh, I see what you're saying. Yeah. No, that makes sense.
It's like a pyramid.
Kind of.
Yes.
Glenn's pyramid.
Glenn's pyramid of the same book. Well, now you get to add to make your pyramid a little bit taller now, man.
Yes. The only thing I will say about the releases, or no, the previews, no Age of Sigmar.
No, there's not. Especially,
no.
It's a bit of a surprise since they just announced the new god, whatever his name was. You would have thought that might have come with a book as well.
I'm not hugely upset by it because I haven't read any of the Age of Sigmar stuff since the end times, and it all changed. I'm massively out of the loop with that. I like my old world the way it was, so that's where most of my books are from for the fantasy side of it. But I was just really, really surprised that they didn't even chuck a couple in there. Maybe they know where the money is.
Yeah, that's it, isn't it?
Yeah.
I think especially if someone did mention that there was the potential of them going back to the old world in a way. So if that is the case, maybe this is like an indication that that's going to happen. Who knows?
Maybe that's what we're getting on Saturday.
Oh yeah. So we'll wrap it up there then. Let us know in the comments below what your favourite book was. Was there something you was hoping to see that you didn't see, and what you're going to go for first? We'll be back with a roundup for whatever is released in the box games tomorrow, and then obviously the second round of 40k, and then on Saturday, whatever we get from our mystery announcements. So make sure go ahead. Just
for the box games, because some of the stuff I've talked about recently has sort of magically appeared. I'm going to make my prediction is going to be I think it's going to be Battlefleet Gothic.
Okay,
you heard it here first. Glenn's on a roll, 1 for 1.
Yes,
can he make it 2?
He's definitely got insider knowledge. Definitely, yeah.
I honest to God, I know. But yeah, that's Battlefleet Gothic, or they're going to relaunch Epic. One of the two.
We'll say. Give us your predictions as well in the comments. So please do like, share, and subscribe to us on YouTube. Check us out on Facebook, Instagram, and anywhere else you can Google Iron and Ceramite. And for today, we'll say goodbye.
Bye.
As always, we would like to thank you for listening to our Iron and Ceramite podcast. If you liked us, then you can also find us on YouTube, Facebook, Instagram, and any other good podcast services. Just remember, in the grim darkness of the far future, there is only war.